This is just a list of our herbal blend, and it gives you just a feel for why we're adding each of the individual herbs. And as I mentioned, we're looking very specifically at what the symptoms are with joint disorder, and then we're addressing those symptoms. And then another piece of it that we're doing is we're working to slow the breakdown of that joint. So not only are we making the animal feel better, but we're also slowing the breakdown so that they're not going to have more problems and not have accelerated problems. And this is an important differentiation. So the product like Connectin helps to rebuild the joint to do what the body would do naturally if it were healthy. And we'll contrast that with a product like in the poll I listed Rimadyl. Rimadyl is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug products, what they do, they're very good at taking inflammation down quickly and blocking the pain. But they do nothing to help rebuild the joint and go to the root of the problem. They simply mask the symptoms of the problem. So oftentimes we get the question, is it okay to give Connectin while my pet is on a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory? And that is fine. It's a totally different mechanism. Oftentimes what veterinarians recommend is that you do both. You start with the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, add Connectin to that, and then hopefully you're able then to wean off the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. And the reason why you would want to do that is because with NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they have some side effects. So some of the side effects that they have are liver and kidney problems. And so that's why if your pet is given non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, the vet will also do a liver and a kidney panel just to get the normal, and then they'll check it on a very, very routine basis to make sure that you're not seeing those problems, organ problems. So a much safer, gentler option would be to try to use the Connectin product and wean off of the non-steroidals. The next area that we're going to talk about is digestive and immune health. This is a huge area, and it's a little surprising that it is such a large area because it's really only been on the radar screen for about 5 or 6 years. We launched Optigest in 2005, and there wasn't a whole lot out there at that time to address digestive and immune health. And what we targeted was looking at a complete product to address all of the common digestive issues. We know that vets report that digestive issues are a top concern for pet owners, and we know that there aren't a lot of good options. Oftentimes, if you take your pet to the vet with concerns of digestive upset, they'll resort to giving non-specific antibiotics. There just aren't a lot of good options of what to do. And oftentimes when you start on antibiotics, it can create other problems for the pet. We know that 70% of the immune system is located in the gut, and oftentimes when you go into a series of antibiotics, because you're not selectively just killing the bad bacteria that may be causing the problem, but you're also killing the good bacteria, the immune system also suffers because of that. With Optigest, just the opposite happens. You select for the growth of the friendly bacteria, and to the exception of the bad bacteria. And so the friendly bacteria, the numbers increase, and what you see are an intrinsic strength in the immune system, the ability for the body to resist infection, decrease the numbers of bad bacteria, and those bad bacteria produce toxins. So you also decrease the amount of toxins in the system. So overall, you build a healthier, more robust system in the animal. The balance, the important thing about balance is with Optigest, you can increase the balance of good bacteria, decrease the amount of bad bacteria, and that will take the entire system. So think about 70% of the immune system is in the digestive tract. overall you have a much healthier animal, in addition to addressing those very specific symptoms that come along with digestive upset. So overall you'll have good health, increased nutrient absorption in the food, and you'll see the elimination of gas and diarrhea and all the things that go along with digestive upset. Now it's important to note that that's even with a healthy diet. So that's even if you're feeding a very high quality food. What we've found is that in the diet, even a healthy diet, you oftentimes don't have the enzymes that you need to break down and get the nutrient absorption, and you don't have the levels of prebiotic, what feeds the good bacteria, that you need to see that shift in balance. Some of the signs and the causes of poor digestion, some of them will be obvious to you. Some of the signs like diarrhea or constipation or gas are obvious, but itching and shedding and body odor, drippy nose, those things may not be quite as obvious. Some of the causes of poor digestion, we know now that we want to have changes in the protein content of the foods, but we know that also when an animal goes through food change that the cells of the digestive system slough off and it causes digestive upset. So food changes is one of the most common reasons why somebody goes to a digestive supplement. Another area is the antibiotic use that we talked about. Since the antibiotics are not specific to the bad bacteria, it's important to know that the prebiotic selects just for feeding the good bacteria. So that's important. Also stressful conditions. We don't think about what makes for a stressful world with our pets all the time, but I know with my dog Floyd, who's in the office with me right now, he's a rescue dog, and his idea of a stressful situation is when the FedEx guy comes in every single day at the exact same time. He needs to be right there and make sure that he's not going to do anything unusual. And that to him is his job, and it's a stressful time for him to have to guard everybody. So for him, he has what I would consider a very delicate system. Optigest has helped him tremendously so that he doesn't have the digestive upset that just goes along with his normal life. Optigest is a complete formula, and it's really a simple and elegant formulation. But what we found is oftentimes there's and just explain for you the differences, because you're going to hear different products that contain, digestive products may contain prebiotics and they may contain probiotics, and it gets a little confusing. So the Optigest contains the clinically tested level of the prebiotic, and the prebiotic that we use is called FOS. FOS is short for fructooligosaccharides. Fructooligosaccharides are the fast food for the good bacteria. So they go right through to the large intestine, and that's where the bacteria are housed. If you can picture the digestive system of a dog or a cat, the very last thing before the tail is the large intestine. And that, if you think about it like a PVC pipe, the inside of it is sticky, and it houses the bacteria. So it doesn't have the acid in the stomach that make it hard for the bacteria to live. It's a more, it's just a more gentle environment for bacteria to grow. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's also a gentle environment for bad bacteria to grow. And so what we want to do is increase the balance to shift it over to the good bacteria. So the prebiotics will selectively offer nutrition for just the beneficial bacteria. And the beneficial bacteria will have names like lactobacillus or bifidobacterium. And those two bacteria are native in a dog and cat system. Now, Floyd might have more bifidobacteria in his system, and your dog may have more lactobacillus in their system. The beauty of feeding a prebiotic is that it will feed the good native bacteria, what's naturally in your pet's system. And so you don't have to worry about, am I giving the right strain? You are giving the right, you're feeding the right strain because that's what they have in their system. Even if they're on antibiotics and you've taken the numbers down significantly, you're not going to sterilize their system and kill all the bacteria. You're going to have still a number of good and bad bacteria. And if you feed with the prebiotic, you're quickly going to get the good numbers up. And when I say quickly, it's really fast because it's a logarithmic growth. So it's a very fast doubling. So for example, with lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, the average doubling time would be about 15 minutes. So if we started with 4 lactobacillus in the large intestine, in 15 minutes we would have 8. In 15 more minutes we would have 16. 15 more minutes, 32, 64, 128, and so on. So you can see how quickly you will see results with Optigest because you're quickly shifting that balance. A probiotic, in contrast to a prebiotic, is the actual live beneficial bacteria. So the live bacteria would be something like a lactobacillus or a bifidobacteria. Typically it's a dairy strain in the commercial products, and so you're not sure if it's the actual native strain. We know it's not a strain from an animal, though. There are no products that have taken a healthy animal and cultured their healthy bacteria and put that into a product. So we know it's probably a dairy strain, and so typically those work better if they're refrigerated. They do have to go all the way through the digestive system, and so you lose a lot of the viability as it goes through the digestive system, and it's just a harder road to hoe than giving the food for the good bacteria. So that's why we've decided to go that path. The other thing that we've added to Optigest are enzymes, and we've used plant enzymes. And I'm going to, while I tell you a little bit about plant enzymes, I'm going to show you a video that that we've made. Let me just, so you should have a pop-up screen, and I'm just going to, you won't hear the sound on this, but I'm going to go through the video. I'll talk over it to give you an explanation of what the enzymes in Optigest do. And this is just a visual so that you can see the enzymes working. So this will be about a minute and a half, and you'll just be able to watch enzymes at work. So what we've done in this is I've just taken a teaspoonful of Optigest and I've added it to some cooked oatmeal. So I just made instant oatmeal, cooked it up, and put it into 2 of these wine glasses. The one on the left is just the instant oatmeal with no Optigest in it. So just a regular lump of instant oatmeal. On this one that I'm moving into a different glass, and I'll put the other one in a different glass just so you can watch, you'll see that the oatmeal that has had the Optigest added to it, watch the lump of oatmeal, and you can watch it digest in the glass. So what's happening are that the enzymes in Optigest are going to work in the glass, and they're digesting the nutrients in the oatmeal, just like they do in the dog and cat's digestive system. And you can see the difference between the 2 glasses, where the one on the left that's had no enzymes, it's not going to break down, it's just going to stay as a hard lump. And if you've ever eaten a big meal late at night and you don't have the enzymes to break it down, you can relate to what's happening in the body is very similar to what's happening in these glasses in front of you, is that the food is just not being broken down. So an animal that's taking the Optigest, they're going to see their food broken down so that they can more easily digest it, and they're going to see the nutrients being able to be absorbed. So that gives you a nice idea of what the